In the heart of a small, rural village, Martha Thompson's life was a testament to perseverance. For years, she labored tirelessly at Redfield Farm, but with wages cut and a dilapidated home, she found herself selling eggs by the roadside just to scrape by. Her struggles seemed endless until a sweltering summer day brought an unexpected visitor, a young boy named Ethan, stranded and desperate. Martha's generous spirit led her to give Ethan her last $130, a gesture of kindness that changed his life. Years later, Ethan, now a successful businessman, returned to repay Martha's kindness. Accompanied by his father, Jacob, he brought not only financial help but a renewed sense of hope to Martha. Together, they repaired her home and took a stand against the injustices at Redfield Farm. The repairs transformed Martha's home and her outlook on life. As Ethan and Jacob continued to support her, their bond grew stronger, and Martha realized that her act of kindness had come full circle, bringing blessings she had never imagined. Join us as we explore this touching journey from hardship to hope and witness how a simple act of generosity can truly change lives. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. Before we dive into this story, please let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Martha Thompson, a resilient 36-year-old woman, found herself in the heart of a small, tranquil village surrounded by the sprawling, emerald fields of Redfield Farm. Life in this rural setting was often marked by simplicity, yet Martha's reality was far from straightforward. For years, she had dedicated herself with an unwavering commitment to the work at Redfield Farm, but recent disruptions had thrown her world into disarray. The once stable farm management had suddenly ceased wage payments, leaving Martha and many others in a desperate scramble for survival. Stripped of her reliable income, Martha faced a harsh new reality. Determined to make ends meet, she turned to selling eggs by the roadside, meticulously setting up her modest stall each day, hoping to entice the occasional motorist passing through. Her home, a small, aging cottage, stood as a testament to her financial struggles. With its peeling paint and a roof in dire need of repair, the house seemed to reflect the turbulence of her life. Martha had harbored dreams of repairing the roof with the help of her kind-hearted neighbor, Tommy Brooks, who had generously offered to assist her. However, the funds for the necessary materials were beyond her reach, making her daily egg sales her only hope. One particularly blistering summer morning, Martha once again prepared her stall, driven by a mixture of hope and determination. The sun blazed mercilessly from the sky, causing sweat to bead on her forehead as she worked. She arranged the cartons of eggs with painstaking care, arranging them in neat, eye-catching rows, desperate to draw in potential customers. The heat was stifling, and each passing hour seemed to add more weight to her already heavy heart. With only a few customers stopping by, the urgency of making a successful sale grew more pressing, as she needed a good day's earnings to purchase the materials Tommy needed to repair her roof. As Martha adjusted her display, her attention was suddenly drawn to a young boy standing forlornly by the bus stop a short distance away. He appeared to be around 11 or 12 years old, his face a canvas of anxiety and uncertainty. Martha watched with growing concern as the bus, which had been his only hope, departed, leaving the boy standing alone, his small figure dwarfed by the vast space around him. His body language spoke volumes: hesitant glances, a slumped posture, as if he were a lost soul adrift in a sea of confusion. Martha's heart was immediately gripped with empathy. Despite her pressing struggles, she felt an overwhelming urge to reach out and offer some form of solace. The boy's futile attempt to board the bus, only to be rejected by the driver's stern shake of the head, left Martha feeling a deep pang of compassion. She saw the boy's shoulders droop in defeat, and her resolve solidified. She couldn't stand by and do nothing. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. With a heavy yet hopeful heart, Martha approached the boy, clutching a small carton of eggs and a piece of bread she had saved for herself. Each step felt like a small act of defiance against the harshness of her circumstances. She walked over to where the boy sat on the curb, his eyes filled with a mix of bewilderment and vulnerability. "Hey there, young man," Martha said softly, her voice infused with genuine concern and kindness. "Are you all right? You seem like you could use something to eat." The boy looked up at her, his eyes widening with a mixture of surprise and relief. "Thank you," he said quietly, his voice trembling with gratitude as he accepted the bread and eggs. "I'm Ethan Parker. I was trying to get to my dad's house, but I didn't have any money for the bus. The driver wouldn't let me on." Martha's heart ached for the boy's predicament, and as he took the food, she felt a glimmer of hope that, despite the harshness of her reality, small acts of kindness could still make a profound difference in someone's life. Martha's heart sank as she listened to Ethan's heart-wrenching story. The young boy, his voice trembling with a mix of fear and hope, explained that he had fled from his mother's relatives, who had mistreated him, and was desperately trying to reunite with his father, who lived in a distant town several hours away. The desperation in his eyes was unmistakable, and Martha felt an overwhelming urge to help him, despite her dire financial situation. With a firm resolve, Martha reached into her pocket and pulled out the last of her savings, $130. "I don't have much," she said, her voice unwavering and filled with compassion. "But here's everything I have left. It should be enough for a bus ticket. I sincerely hope it gets you where you need to go." Ethan's eyes widened with a mix of astonishment and relief. "Are you sure?" "I don't want to take all your money," he protested, clearly moved by her generosity. Martha's smile was both gentle and reassuring. "It's all right," she said softly. "I've faced tough times myself, and I understand what it's like to need a helping hand. Just promise me you'll get to your dad safely." Ethan nodded vigorously, his face brightening with gratitude. "Thank you so much. I'll make sure to pay it forward someday." As Ethan hurried off to catch the next bus, Martha watched him with a blend of sadness and hope. Though her situation remained bleak, the act of helping someone in need gave her a sense of purpose and relief. She returned to her stall, her heart a little lighter despite the ongoing challenges. The rest of the day dragged on with only a few more sales, and as she packed up her things, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing she had made a difference in at least one person's life. Unbeknownst to her, Ethan's journey and her struggles were about to intertwine in ways she could never have anticipated. Years later, Martha Thompson, now 51, found herself still wrestling with the same hardships. The oppressive sun continued to beat down on the small rural village she called home, and Redfield Farm, the heart of her community, remained under the cold, indifferent management of Henry Walters, the new farm manager. Life had only grown more challenging over the years. The much-needed repairs for her home had been deferred repeatedly due to financial constraints. Her roof remained in disrepair, and the walls of her small house seemed to sag under the weight of her ongoing struggles. Tommy Brooks, her ever-reliable neighbor and handyman, had promised to help with the repairs, but Martha's financial limitations prevented her from gathering the necessary materials. One gloomy afternoon, Martha stood by her roadside egg stall, which now looked even more weathered than before. The setting sun cast long, melancholy shadows over her meager display of eggs. With passers-by scarce and sales barely covering her daily expenses, Martha's spirits were at an all-time low. Her heart sank further when Henry Walters, driving by in his sleek, new vehicle, glanced at her stall with a look of disdain and disinterest before speeding away. His aloofness and disregard for the farm workers were well known, and Martha had felt his coldness acutely. She sighed deeply, her shoulders slumping as she packed up her unsold eggs. The day had been disheartening, and it seemed that luck was nowhere to be found. As she trudged back to her small, dilapidated house, Martha thought about her recent conversation with Helen Davis, her former co-worker and friend. Helen had visited her recently, sharing stories of better days that now seemed like a distant memory. As Martha approached her home, she was surprised to find Helen waiting on her doorstep, her face etched with concern. "Martha," Helen said, her voice tinged with sympathy and worry, "you look utterly exhausted. How are you holding up?" "It's been tough," Martha admitted, her voice heavy with the weight of her struggles. "I'm barely scraping by, and the house repairs are still on hold. Henry Walters doesn't care about us at all. It's clear our loyalty means nothing to him." Helen shook her head in dismay. "It's such a shame. We worked so hard for that farm, and now we're left with nothing." The two women settled onto Martha's creaky porch, sharing stories of better times and lamenting the injustices they faced. Martha found a small comfort in discussing her frustrations with Helen, but it did little to alleviate the burden of her current reality. Later that week, as Martha was preparing to settle in for the night, the serene quiet of her humble home was disrupted by the unmistakable sound of a car pulling up outside. This was no ordinary vehicle. The sleek, luxury black car that now sat in front of her modest house stood in stark contrast to the clunky old vehicles typically seen in their small, struggling village. A knot of curiosity and apprehension tightened in her stomach as she made her way to the door. As Martha opened the door, her eyes fell upon a figure that seemed to have stepped out of a dream. Ethan Parker, now a grown man, stood before her. He was impeccably dressed in a sharp, tailored suit that spoke volumes about his success and sophistication. His confident demeanor and poised presence were a far cry from the anxious young boy she had last seen. Beside him stood a man who appeared to be his father, Jacob Parker, his bearing equally dignified and reassuring. Ethan's face, though older and more refined, was unmistakable, and Martha's heart leaped as she recognized him. Martha Thompson, Ethan's voice rang out with a warm, familiar tone, carrying a sense of recognition and heartfelt gratitude. "It's me, Ethan. I don't know if you remember me, but I'm here because of what you did for me all those years ago." Martha's eyes widened in disbelief and awe. "Ethan, I can hardly believe it. You've grown so much since I last saw you." Ethan's smile was both radiant and sincere as he stepped forward, his father following closely behind. "Yes, I've grown up quite a bit. I wanted to come here personally to thank you for your incredible kindness. The $130 you gave me was crucial. It allowed me to reach my father and start a new chapter in my life. With his support, we built a stable and fulfilling life together. Now it's my turn to help you." Jacob Parker, standing proudly beside his son, nodded with a look of earnest commitment. "We've heard about the struggles you've been facing. We know how hard it's been for you, and we want to make things right. We're here to help you repair your home and restore some stability to your life." Martha was overwhelmed by a torrent of emotions. Tears welled up in her eyes as she looked at Ethan and Jacob, her heart swelling with gratitude. "I don't know what to say. This is beyond anything I could have ever imagined." As Ethan and Jacob began to discuss the plans for repairing Martha's home, the weight of her years of struggle seemed to lift. The prospect of a better future, once a distant dream, now felt tangible and within reach. The unexpected kindness from Ethan, the boy she had helped so long ago, had come full circle, bringing with it a glimmer of hope and a promise of renewal. In the days that followed, Ethan and Jacob took swift and decisive action. Jacob, with his business acumen and compassionate spirit, immediately arranged for a highly recommended contractor, Joe Miller, to oversee the repairs. Joe and his team arrived with enthusiasm and expertise, their presence a welcome sight. The transformation began almost immediately. As the days passed, the sight of workers bustling around, the rhythmic sound of tools, and the steady progress of the repairs filled Martha with a sense of awe and optimism. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. The repair work progressed rapidly. The sagging roof, which had once seemed like an insurmountable obstacle, was replaced with a sturdy new structure. The peeling paint and weathered walls were revitalized, and the house, which had stood as a symbol of her hardships, began to reflect the promise of a brighter future. The transformation was not just physical but emotional, as Martha saw her home being restored to a place of comfort and security. Each day, Martha marveled at the progress being made. The once worn-out porch now sparkled with fresh paint, and the interior of her house started to regain its warmth and charm. The new roof, with its strong and protective covering, symbolized the hope and stability that had been rekindled in her life. Every nail hammered and every brushstroke of paint seemed to carry the weight of her past struggles, transforming them into a testament of resilience and renewal. As the final touches were completed, Martha felt a deep sense of gratitude and relief. The kindness and generosity of Ethan and Jacob had not only repaired her home, but had also restored her faith in the goodness of people. The profound impact of their help went beyond the physical repairs. It rekindled her hope and reaffirmed her belief in the power of compassion and generosity. Martha's heart swelled with pride as she stood in her newly repaired home, reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this moment. The boy she had helped so many years ago had returned to repay that kindness in the most meaningful way. The cycle of compassion and support had come full circle, bringing light to her life when she needed it most. With her home now a symbol of her renewed hope and strength, Martha embraced the future with a newfound sense of possibility and joy. The flurry of activity around Martha's home was nothing short of transformative. Each day, a steady stream of workers arrived with an array of materials and tools, working tirelessly to breathe new life into her dilapidated house. Martha watched in awe as the once neglected home began to shed its old, worn-out appearance and take on a new, hopeful facade. The repairs were extensive and meticulously executed. The roof was not only patched but reinforced with new, sturdy materials. The sagging walls were braced and fortified, and the old, crumbling porch was replaced with a fresh, welcoming structure. It was a remarkable sight. The house that had long been a symbol of her struggles was gradually being reborn as a place of comfort and security. Throughout this period of intense activity, Martha found herself engaged in several heartfelt conversations with Ethan and Jacob. They shared stories about their lives, their struggles, and their triumphs. Ethan, now a successful businessman with a thriving career, spoke with infectious passion about his ventures and the pivotal role his father had played in shaping his success. Jacob, a man whose kindness and thoughtfulness were evident in every word he spoke, expressed his deep gratitude for Martha's earlier act of generosity. He explained how her kindness had profoundly inspired them both and motivated their decision to assist her in her time of need. One afternoon, as Joe Miller's team worked diligently on the repairs, Martha noticed a familiar luxury car pulling into her driveway. It was none other than Henry Walters, the farm manager, who emerged from the car looking visibly agitated and out of place amidst the bustling repair work. His face was set in a scowl as he approached, his demeanor marked by irritation and a sense of entitlement. "What's going on here?" Henry demanded, his voice sharp and accusatory. "Who's paying for all this? How could you possibly afford such extensive repairs?" Martha was taken aback by his sudden and unwelcome intrusion. She turned to Ethan and Jacob for support, her heart racing with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Ethan, his calm and authoritative presence commanding respect, stepped forward to address Henry. "Henry Walters," he said firmly, "this is a private matter. Martha's situation has been taken care of by us, and we are handling all the expenses." Henry's face reddened with frustration and disbelief. "I don't believe this. How could she possibly manage such work? Who's behind this?" Jacob, stepping up beside Ethan with a demeanor of quiet resolve, added, "We plan to address the treatment of workers at Redfield Farm. We've heard troubling reports about the way you've been managing things, and we believe it's time for a serious review. There may be an investigation into the farm's practices, including a potential audit." Henry's eyes widened in panic and alarm. "An investigation? You can't do that." Jacob's gaze remained steady and unyielding. "We can and we will if necessary. Martha and other workers deserve better treatment, and it's time for the farm's management to be held accountable for its actions." With a final, frustrated glare, Henry stormed off, leaving behind a trail of anger and unease. Martha watched him leave with a renewed sense of hope and determination. The intervention of Ethan and Jacob represented more than just physical repairs to her home. It was a powerful stand against the injustices she had endured. The possibility of a review of Redfield Farm's practices and the prospect of an investigation brought a sense of justice and vindication that she had scarcely dared to hope for. As the days went by, the improvements to Martha's home continued, and the sense of hope and renewal grew stronger. The once neglected house now stood as a symbol of resilience and positive change. The support from Ethan and Jacob not only restored her physical living space, but also rekindled her belief in fairness and compassion. The prospect of a thorough review of Redfield Farm's management practices brought with it the promise of systemic change, offering a glimmer of hope for a brighter and more equitable future for all those who had suffered under the farm's unjust management. Martha felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and relief, knowing that her struggles had led to something far greater than she could have imagined. The kindness and support she had received had not only transformed her home, but had also inspired a broader justice movement. As she looked around at the renewed warmth and security of her home, Martha embraced the future with renewed hope and a profound sense of accomplishment. Over the next few weeks, Martha's home underwent a stunning transformation. The once worn-out house with its peeling paint and sagging roof now radiated warmth and vitality. The extensive repairs had not only rejuvenated the physical structure, but had also breathed new life into Martha's spirit. Each day, as she wandered through her newly improved home, she marveled at the unexpected turn her life had taken, feeling a profound sense of gratitude and wonder. One serene evening, after overseeing the final touches on her house, Martha and Ethan found themselves seated together on the freshly repaired porch. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over their surroundings. Ethan looked at Martha with a thoughtful expression, his eyes reflecting a deep sense of reflection and appreciation. "You know, Martha," he began, his voice filled with sincerity, "I've been reflecting on how much of a difference you made in my life. I want to ensure you know just how significant your kindness was to both me and my father." Martha's eyes welled up with emotion as she listened. "I'm so grateful for everything you've done," she replied, her voice trembling with heartfelt appreciation. "I never imagined that a simple act of kindness could return to me in such a remarkable way." Ethan smiled warmly, his gaze steady and reassuring. Kindness has a remarkable way of coming full circle. I hope you'll always hold on to that truth. As the evening settled in around them, Martha felt a profound sense of renewal and gratitude. The unexpected kindness she had received had transformed her life, and she could now look forward to a future brimming with hope and possibility. The warmth of the evening sun seemed to echo the warmth she felt in her heart, marking a new chapter in her life filled with optimism and promise. One bright morning, as Martha sipped her coffee on her newly repaired porch, she heard the familiar hum of Ethan's luxury black car approaching. Ethan and Jacob had become frequent visitors, often bringing updates and sharing moments of camaraderie with Martha. Today, however, they arrived with an air of excitement that piqued Martha's curiosity. "Martha," Ethan announced as they stepped out of the car, his voice brimming with enthusiasm, "we have some news for you." Martha's interest was immediately aroused. "What is it?" Jacob, with a broad smile, took the lead. "Ethan and I have been discussing how we can extend our support beyond just your home. We want to make a positive impact in the community as a whole." Martha's eyes widened in surprise and anticipation. "What do you mean?" Ethan continued, "We've been reflecting on the treatment of workers at Redfield Farm. We believe that by taking a stand and making our intentions clear, we can inspire real change." Jacob nodded in agreement. "We've scheduled a meeting with the farm's management to address the issues. Our goal is to ensure that all workers are treated with the respect they deserve and receive fair wages. We hope this will set a new standard for how employees should be valued." Martha's heart swelled with hope and relief. "That's wonderful news. The workers at Redfield Farm deserve so much more. Thank you both for standing up for them." The days that followed were filled with anticipation and determination. The scheduled meeting with the farm's management was a pivotal moment. Ethan and Jacob approached the meeting with a sense of purpose and resolve. They presented a compelling case, detailing the mistreatment of workers and advocating for necessary reforms. Their arguments were backed by facts and a deep understanding of the issues at hand. Initially, the farm's management responded defensively, their attitudes marked by skepticism and resistance. However, Ethan and Jacob's unwavering resolve, combined with the looming possibility of a formal audit, began to shift the dynamics of the discussion. The gravity of the situation became increasingly clear to the management, prompting them to reconsider their stance. As the meeting progressed, it became evident that the farm's management was beginning to understand the seriousness of the issues raised. The prospect of an audit and the strong advocacy from Ethan and Jacob catalyzed a commitment to address the problems. The management pledged to undertake a thorough review of their practices, implement necessary changes, and ensure that the workers were treated with the fairness and respect they deserved. Martha watched the unfolding events with a mixture of hope and relief. The possibility of real, systemic change at Redfield Farm was a beacon of justice that she had longed for. Ethan's and Jacob's efforts represented not only a resolution to her struggles, but also a broader movement toward equity and respect for all those who had been unfairly treated. The impact of their intervention was profound, bringing with it a sense of vindication and a renewed belief in the power of standing up for what is right. As the weeks went by, Martha's home continued to shine as a symbol of positive change. The repairs had revitalized her living space, and the efforts of Ethan and Jacob were now paving the way for a more just and equitable treatment of workers. Martha embraced the future with a heart full of gratitude and hope, knowing that her act of kindness had come full circle, inspiring a ripple effect of compassion and fairness in her community. Back at Martha's home, life gradually settled into a comforting new routine. With the major repairs completed and her house transformed into a vibrant, welcoming space, Martha found herself embracing a renewed sense of purpose. The once overwhelming challenges had been replaced by the joy of hosting small gatherings and reconnecting with friends and neighbors. The transformation of her home was not just a physical change, but a symbol of the positive shift in her life. One of the first to visit after the renovations was Helen Davis, Martha's former co-worker and close friend. As Helen stepped into Martha's newly improved home, her eyes widened in amazement. "Martha, your home looks stunning. I can hardly believe the difference. It's like stepping into a whole new place," she exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. Martha beamed with pride and gratitude. "It's all thanks to Ethan and Jacob. Their generosity has truly changed my life, in ways I never imagined," she said, her voice trembling slightly with emotion. Helen's eyes sparkled with admiration as she looked around. "You must feel so relieved and happy. It's wonderful to see that someone is finally standing up for the workers at Redfield Farm. You've been through so much, and it's heartening to see a positive outcome." Martha nodded, her heart swelling with a mix of relief and hope. "Yes, it's been an incredible journey. I feel a renewed sense of hope for the future. It's as if everything is coming together most unexpectedly and beautifully." One evening, as Martha was preparing a simple but heartfelt dinner, there was a knock on her door. Ethan and Jacob stood on the threshold, their faces lit with smiles. In their hands, they carried a large basket brimming with fresh eggs from Martha's farm, accompanied by a handwritten note. Martha's heart raced with anticipation as she accepted the gift. The note read to Martha, "With gratitude for your unyielding kindness and for showing us what it means to care." From Ethan and Jacob. As Martha read the note, tears welled up in her eyes. The depth of their generosity and the impact it had on her life was overwhelming. She felt an intense wave of gratitude and a profound sense of fulfillment. The simple act of receiving such a thoughtful gift was a poignant reminder of the full circle of kindness and the bonds of support that had been forged through her actions. As word of Martha's story and the positive changes she had inspired began to spread throughout the village, a renewed sense of community spirit emerged. The improvements at Redfield Farm and the respect now shown to the workers brought a fresh vibrancy to the village. The workers, who had once felt marginalized and undervalued, were now motivated and hopeful about their futures. The atmosphere in the village shifted from one of struggle to one of collective upliftment and optimism. If you're still tuned into this video and find the story inspiring, drop a 3 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. Martha found herself surrounded by a supportive network of friends and neighbors, all of whom had been touched by her story and the changes that followed. Her home became a gathering place for celebrating the newfound sense of community and shared purpose. Each day was a testament to the power of kindness and the enduring impact of one person's compassionate actions. As Martha looked around at the positive changes in her life and her community, she felt a deep sense of contentment and hope for the future. The journey from struggle to renewal had not only transformed her home, but also fostered a spirit of unity and fairness in the village. Martha embraced this new chapter with gratitude, knowing that the ripples of her kindness had created a legacy of positive change that would continue to inspire and uplift others for years to come. Ethan's visits to Martha's home had become a cherished routine, and each visit deepened the bond between them. He had come to see Martha not just as a friend, but as family. The warmth and connection they shared were palpable, and it was clear that Ethan had come to view Martha's home as a place of refuge and belonging. One crisp autumn evening, as the setting sun cast a golden glow over the village, Ethan, Jacob, and Martha sat together on her porch. The air was filled with a sense of serenity and accomplishment, the kind that comes from knowing that hard work and kindness have made a meaningful difference. The conversation was light, but the undercurrent of deep affection and gratitude was undeniable. Ethan turned to Martha with a heartfelt expression. "Martha, I want you to know something important. You've become a significant part of my life. Your kindness and resilience have not only inspired me, but have also made me feel like this place is a second home for me. I'd love to make it official and have this house be a true second home." Martha's heart fluttered with warmth at Ethan's words. She looked around at the home that had been transformed by his and Jacob's generosity and felt a profound sense of contentment. "Ethan, I'd be deeply honored," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "It feels like we've come full circle. The support and kindness you've shown me have given me so much more than just physical repairs. They've given me a sense of belonging and hope." The realization that her simple act of kindness had blossomed into such a meaningful relationship brought tears to Martha's eyes. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that her actions had led to a profound and lasting impact. The bond she had formed with Ethan and Jacob was a testament to the power of compassion and the unexpected blessings that arise from selflessness. As the evening drew to a close, Martha, Ethan, and Jacob shared a quiet moment of reflection. The village, once a backdrop of struggle, had transformed into a place of unity and support. Redfield Farm had begun to reflect the values of fairness and respect, thanks to the efforts of those who cared deeply about making a difference. Martha's home, now a symbol of renewal and warmth, stood as a living testament to the power of compassion and the full circle of kindness. The story of how a simple, selfless act had evolved into a network of support and transformation was a beacon of hope for everyone who heard it. The village thrived with a new sense of purpose, and Martha embraced her role as a central figure in this tapestry of positive change. As the story concluded, Martha looked around with a heart full of gratitude and a renewed sense of belonging. The kindness she had once extended had come back to her in ways she had never imagined, bringing not only personal fulfillment but also a vibrant community spirit. The legacy of compassion and the unexpected blessings that followed was a testament to the enduring power of a simple act of kindness, proving that even the smallest gestures can create ripples of change that touch countless lives. As we wrap up this heartwarming story, we reflect on the incredible journey from struggle to transformation that Martha Thompson's life has taken. From her humble beginnings and the selfless act of kindness she extended to Ethan Parker, to the profound impact of that kindness coming full circle. This story teaches us invaluable lessons about compassion, resilience, and the power of community. What have you learned from Martha's journey? How has her story inspired you to make a difference in your own life? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please comment below with one lesson you've taken from this story and how you plan to bring it into your own life. If you enjoyed this video and found inspiration in Martha's story, please leave a comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Your support helps us continue bringing you meaningful content and stories that matter. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to connecting with you in the comments.